Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Danielle and I'm from Cage's Readings. So welcome back if you've been here before, and if not, thanks for tuning in. Today's pick a card reading, we're going to be looking at what habits are holding you back from thriving. So another way to look at this is, what habits do you need to break so that you can set yourself up for success, for the dreams that you've been wanting? So that being said, we have, as per usual, 3 card piles to choose from. Pile 1, you're going to love this. This is a crystal I hardly ever use because I have a hard time pronouncing it. It's Lepidolite, I think. Lepidolite. Anyways, pile 1 is this one. And the card deck we're going to be using for you is the Archangel Gabriel Oracle cards. So you can choose by the deck or by the crystal. Pile 2 is this piece of malachite. Oracle card deck is going to be the Kyle Gray Angels and Ancestors. These are your options for pile 2. Pile 3 is this piece of Lapis Lazuli. And your Oracle card deck is the Mermaids. Those are your options for pile 3. So if you've never done a pick a card reading before, no worries. I'll give you an explanation now. It's always best to start grounded, centered in your body. What does this mean? It just means that you've been going about your day. You've probably been in your head a lot, in your mind a lot, and we want to get you out of your head, out of that overthinking, and into the body. So the easiest, fastest way to change your state is by using your breath. So if you're able to, close your eyes, take a deep breath in down through the nose, let it fill up into the lower diaphragm, and then exhale out the mouth. And then doing that 2 or 3 more times. Paying attention to your shoulders. Is there any tension you can let go of when you exhale? Maybe feeling your feet on the floor, how your body's feeling on whatever surface it's on, whether you're sitting, lying down. Just really taking a second to check in with yourself. Getting embodied. And then from there, you can ask yourself, do one of these card piles have a message for me? And then you open your eyes again, and then you take a look at all the piles here, and you just look to see, is the crystal jumping out at you? Is one of the images on the card decks or a color on the card decks standing out to you? Have you just seen this deck a lot, been drawn to it? There's no real wrong or right way to choose. It just goes by your instinct. What is calling your attention? And then if you're someone who likes numbers, you can also scroll down to the description box below and choose based off of the numbers that are time-stamped next to each pile. That also works. And then if you're still not feeling it, each pile does have an energy check. So you can go into the pile, see if the energy check resonates with you. And if it does, then there could be a message for you in that pile. If it doesn't, then I would move on to another card pile. And sometimes, honestly, we do just need to find a different pick a card reading, but that's okay. Now that you're grounded, connected to your intuition, you're going to find your message for you in a jiffy. Okay, well, now you know how to choose your piles. So that being said, I'll give you an opportunity now to take some of those deep breaths if you haven't already, get grounded, and then choose your piles. Hello, pile 1. So you chose the Lepidolite. I'm going to put it just right over here. I'm going to go like that, actually. Perfect. So if you didn't watch the intro, that's okay. we are just going to be pulling some cards to get an energy check. And how we're doing that today is we're going to pull cards on how you see yourself. How you see yourself right now, actually. I think that's a better one. So, all in love and light and for your highest good, as always. Pile of one. How do you see yourself right now? What is going on for you? Okay. Interesting that we're talking about how you see yourself, and then a bunch of third eye chakra cards come out. That is just interesting. Okay, so how you see yourself. The Owl card coming out in reverse is really interesting to me because this, I feel like, is like a card that has a lot of trust in itself. Someone who like just feels like they have it they have it not figured out, but like anything that comes up, they can come up with a solution for it. They have their own back. They're adaptable. They're able to see past the hardship and like keep their focus. And what's interesting when this comes up reversed, I feel like that you're in a time right now where you're just feeling a little discouraged, you know, where it's just like I feel like you normally do trust yourself and you normally do feel that way, but like right now something's happened, or you might just be feeling overwhelmed enough that you're not like feeling like you can handle it all, like that you've got it all. I don't want to say all figured out. That feels like the wrong word. I would say it feels like this pile's probably tired. Because just as soon as I tune into this energy too, I'm feeling really tired. Yeah, so I feel like you might be tired. You might just be feeling like you just genuinely need some outside help to get through a situation you're in, to break a habit that you're trying to break, to get a different result than you've been having. But then, of course, you do still see that you're fiercely independent, that you're used to meeting your own needs, that you're used to just relying on yourself. And I also feel like you do see yourself as someone who's very good at following their instincts and their intuition. And that overall, whether you would openly admit this to other people or not, you can actually, you know that you've got a lot of wisdom. Like, you know that not everyone has lived through the experiences that you've lived through, and not everyone has the knowledge and the wisdom that you do. So this goes to like having learned through a lot of experiences, having learned through difficulty and challenges, from having to make hard decisions, having to stay in integrity with who you are, and stay strong and stable. And so what I'm seeing here is honestly someone who's very, very good at, I want to say being a lone wolf, like at holding their ground, at meeting all their own needs. But something's come up and it's like you realize that you just can't keep doing it anymore. You don't feel like you can keep getting through all these situations on your own. So this is interesting. When I see this owl card come out in reverse, it's almost like you've had like an epiphany or something that either it's not that you can't keep doing everything on your own, but it's like really exhausting. Like there's something that's happened where you're just like, I don't want to have to keep doing all of it. It's not sustainable, or it's isolating, or I don't want to have to work so hard all the time. I want to be able to allow some of that like help, that magic of opportunity. And I'd almost feel like this is saying like you even are like trying to be more open to like the universe creating those crazy synchronicities that just work out for you. Like the answers just coming your way, if that makes any sense. Okay, so also for fun here, I did just decide to quickly Google the spiritual meaning of Lepidolite, or however you say it, Lepidolite. what I find really interesting is it's especially known for being used with the third eye chakra and the crown, which is kind of what was coming through in your cards already, is a lot of third eye chakra. It's specifically good for change and in promoting emotional healing, tranquility, and balance. This is one of the stones where there's supposed to be lithium in it, which is supposed to help with, just peacefulness overall and calming properties. So that's really interesting. So it does kind of bring into some blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I feel like I'm not speaking clearly. I'm like really tired. I really can't tell if this is my own energy or this pile's energy. Sorry about that. But I guess I'll find out in pile 2 if I'm still tired or not. But I do keep getting, though, that there is some sort of change or transition coming in. And this is where this is like uncertainty is coming in yourself, where normally you can see through it quite easily. You're having a hard time seeing your way through it. So anyways, that being said, we are going to put this aside. It is kind of an interesting energy because everything here says you're fully capable of getting through this, but for some reason there's this thing coming up that makes it feel like you can't. Like, you're independent, you can rely on yourself, you have great instincts and great intuition. You've made it through these kind of situations before. So yeah, I'm really curious just to see what comes up for this pile. What habit is it even talking about? So let's see, what habit? I almost wonder if is the independence, though, is the habit that you're needing to break, being too independent, like where it's like you almost could be more interdependent is the word I wanted to look for. Okay, let's see. All in lemon line for your highest good. What habit is holding pile 1 back from thriving right now? What habit is stopping pile 1 from thriving? Okay, sensitivity, happy news, journaling. Okay, there's a lot about honoring your emotions, which is really interesting. And then look at that. You have allow yourself to receive. So there is some messages, law of attraction, coming in already about, about needing to allow in more help. Allow yourself to receive. I usually see this as like there is possible opportunities, there's possible help out there for us, but whether it's just like the way we were raised, is a habit or a pattern we've picked up in life to try to do everything on our own, it gets to the point where it can be a bit self-sabotaging, just in the sense that like you could be burning yourself out, you could be completely depleted, and there could be someone who's so excited to offer you some help, to offer you some assistance, but there is just like a pattern of just wanting to rely on self, and I almost feel like not wanting to trust others to depend on them might be like the wording there. Anyways, the thing that comes up here is there is a lot of clearing. So this means that this comes from from a learned lesson in childhood. That's what I usually get when I see lots of white. It's like it's really old stuff. It's like that unconscious pattern. Well, I shouldn't say unconscious, because I think you consciously do choose to be taking action on your own. I do feel like you do consciously do that, but I wonder if you don't quite realize to what extent you I want to say like deny help. There's like a specific word I want to use here, but I can't quite think of it. I don't want to say reject help, but I want to say like you kindly dismiss. That's the word I was looking for. Dismiss help from others. And you could even maybe want it, but I feel like there's a part of you that might feel guilty or just uncertain, or just it just doesn't feel quite right accepting that help. Whether that is like with helping manage your time by helping out with tasks, maybe even helping with taking on some of the burdens and the responsibilities, taking on some leadership roles, taking on some delegation, whether this is even like in your family system, maybe organizing things. I feel like I get a lot around like you have a hard time accepting help when it comes to delegating things to others, tasks to others. I don't know, I just keep getting that. Like I keep seeing this person like is announcing something to everyone else. This person is like leading someone somewhere. So I don't know, it's very specific. Okay, sorry, I just turned on a light here because it's getting pretty dark. So, pile ones, I can't help but wonder if you're experiencing a bit of procrastination or a challenging, or if you're having a hard time with getting all the tasks you need done, because everything coming through here is just like, everything's like you just want to have more fun, like a person painting, a person playing music. Or is it over here? I feel like I saw like editor. I saw this as like someone like writing a story, and like there's passion here. There's like passion in in a lot of these cards, like happy news and things like that. And I just wonder, also, sorry, sensitivity was the other card I was looking at, where I just wonder if you actually just need to be able to go and play more. Like if you're having a hard time staying focused, you're having a hard time seeing things through to the end, for lack of better words, or finishing your task lists. I just wonder if there really is a need for you to honor the fact that you just like need a break sometimes, because also me trying to do this reading, I have stopped so many times and I'm so tired all of a sudden, and this just seems like the hardest task to do, to just read cards which is actually usually like I don't want to say like the easiest task, but usually it's pretty easy to read cards for me. I just do it a lot. So it's just like to not be able to read anything in them is kind of crazy. So I don't know. I wonder if there's a little message in there for you that you're just even having a hard time doing the jobs you're really good at. And everything here is just saying like, yeah, honoring that. And that if you're trying to force through some work, it's going to be really, really hard to get it to be the quality that you want it to be. And I think you feel that. I wonder if that's even something that you've been really frustrated with yourself about recently. Let's just pull some more clarifying cards here. Yeah, look at that. Okay. Divine guidance, creative expression, authenticity. So many of your cards, like seriously, the creativity is like the biggest message. Authenticity also being right up there. And with a divine guidance coming through, I wonder if the third eye chakra is coming up so much for this pile, because there's been so many messages, so many signs saying, hey, look, the way that you're doing this isn't working. Like you need to make a change. You need to like let yourself like express yourself more, spend more time being able to be yourself. Like, I know what I'm thinking of. It's like you have these lists and you're like, all right, there's like 16 hours that I can be productive in a day. And even when I say that, some of you might be like, oh no, like you could be productive for 20 hours of the day or 18 hours of the day. Or like something like that, because you don't need to sleep that much. If that's something that's coming up in your head, then it might be like, hey, like how many hours are you spending being a human, being you, being able to just experience life and like enjoy it and like letting your authentic side comes through so strongly for just like you're not a robot. Like you're here to live part of the human experience. You're here to like honor your emotions, your sensitivities, honor like you also have journaling, like honor what your desires are. And if you're like, there's so much about the creative expression and then like journaling and like writing things down. I wonder if this pile is like an artist or wanted to be an artist or someone who wanted to be a writer or write poems or write songs. There's something there. There's so much around physically writing things down. So you really just need to listen to your intuition, follow your instincts, and take that as it applies to you. Yeah, because so much here is just talking about getting things in the written form, putting things down in the written way. Yeah, and expressing everything that you maybe haven't. So this is interesting. I was talking about habits, but I feel like this is like, it's kind of bordering on a habit of like, if you're treating yourself like a machine or just like making yourself be super productive, super efficient all the time, that's awesome, but you need to save some time for yourself, right? So like if you're going to be super productive and super efficient, give yourself, let's say 10 hours to do that, 10 or 8 hours. And then the other hours are for you. So if there's 16 hours that people are awake for on average, then maybe you can split it 50-50. Or if that's really scary, then maybe you can just start with only 10 of those hours are for working. And the other 6 hours are for fun and for you to live, for you to express, for you to discover, journal, figure out who this person is. So it says, keep your thoughts positive and surround yourself with positive people and situations, and you will attract more positivity into your life. So yeah, I really just keep getting this as like, once you create more time for you to just enjoy life or express yourself or kind of just spend more time in play, in creativity, in creation, all those words just mean like doing things that like fill your cup, that fill your energy cup, that when you do it, it doesn't deplete you. Then the rest of the work becomes easy again. And I wonder if you're someone where I would almost wonder maybe you're in your like 30s or something, maybe even early 40s, but you used to be quite capable of pushing yourself to a very extreme extent. And I wonder if you're just like, your body's like saying no now, like you just literally can't get yourself to do some of these activities or some of these tasks. And it's probably pretty frustrating because you used to be able to, but it's just like your body's just tired of it, I think. Like you've been pushing and pushing and pushing, and now it's like, hey, it's time to just actually be able to be us, to be able to be the person we want to be, to like pick up a new hobby or do something silly just for the fun of it. Everything is just like, have more fun. So I feel like this could have been like a little bit of a shocker for this pile. Okay, I am going to just pull some cards from this deck here and just ask for some further clarity on how you can thrive more. So I would say the habit that's holding you back is trying to overwork, to be overly productive. That's actually probably causing you procrastination and burnout, which then can be a bit of a vicious cycle. So yeah, I feel like when easing up on how many hours of productivity, then you're going to be surprised at how much more energy you have when you leave space for joy, for fun, for, I want to say feeling too. Like, I wonder if you also just haven't had a lot of time in your life to like feel your emotions, to sit with them and to honor like just even like feeling frustrated or burnt out or stressed. Like, I wonder if you haven't even given yourself time to do that. Okay, so anyways, guidance on how you can further thrive. We have practice compassion, see things from a fresh perspective. So this always talks about having more compassion for ourselves and understanding that we're not robots. Miracles and blessings, everything has its gifts. So I feel like this one's really addressing the frustration that you might be facing Focus on love. Look for the good in everyone. Okay. Yeah, I do feel like this pile is probably going through some serious frustration around this like new limitation that's hitting you. Like I said, though, I think this is around productivity. Just being too tired, or just really like you really don't have the ability to motivate yourself to complete tasks anymore. And look at that, we have a lot of third eye coming up and sacral chakra. So sacral chakra is just, yeah, that creative energy, that I can't even see it as like life force energy, just pleasure, joy in life, being able to experience joy in life. Some small ways we can start with that is just like intentionally making a meal that we just slowly eat and enjoy the flavors of it. Like the slow down and doing things just to experience them. And yeah, that's just very different from the like go, go, go kind of aspect, right? Okay. But anyways, kind of curious about this look for the good in everyone. So this card kind of has me feeling like there's some like aspect of yourself that you kind of are very frustrated with. So if you are familiar with parts work or internal family systems, imagine there's a part of yourself that you might really reject, in the sense that you might be like, that's a part of me that like makes me lazy, or that's the part of me that isn't motivated enough, or doesn't try hard enough, or like when this part of me comes up, I'm just not as good at my job, or I'm too distracted. And this is really talking about like making friends with it, because why is it coming up? Like looking for like what is missing in your day-to-day life that this part of you that you find frustrating or irritating to have to deal with is coming through, is actually trying to look out for you, is essentially what I get here. So if this part of you that is like exhausted or burnt out or just done with being put on this insane time schedule to always be going and always be like, I don't know, productive is the word I want to use, then I can just, are always making decisions and things like that, having to like delegate or figure things out. It's just like, why is this part coming up? What do you need? What do you need right now? Miracles and blessings. So I just keeps going through that there's actually quite the hidden gift in this part of you, because it's trying to let you into, I think, like more life. Like, and I realize everything I'm saying could sound very odd to someone if they aren't experiencing a lot of like joy in their life, or a lot of like free time to just be. I imagine this pile is like super work orientated. Like I would wonder if this pile has considered themselves a workaholic. At whatever you do. You're someone who might be very proficient at anything they set themselves after. So I can just see it being very frustrating to be dealing with like lack of motivation. Yeah, like a part of yourself that's just like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. Yeah. So seeing things from a fresh perspective is the big, big thing here. And a lot of it is talking about like, what is this part of you that keeps coming up trying to tell you? There's a message there. What is it trying to tell you? Are you spending too much time focusing on something? Like only you can like really discern what it's trying to tell you. As a card reader looking at this for the collective or the collective reading, I would wonder if this part of you is just trying to tell you the importance of living life, the importance of you just like, there's nothing you need to do or prove. You just get to live a life. And you might have forgotten that, or your upbringing, the industry you work in might have allowed you to forget that you're not just a machine whose value is based off of what you can put into the world or what you can accomplish in a day. You're actually just meant to live a life, to experience a life, and figure out what that is. what brings you joy? And I feel like you're such a creative person. I don't know if you would identify as that, but you for sure are. All your cards are like, wow, you're super creative. And you're very gifted at different things, for sure. I don't know what they are. You must know what they are because you are you. Yeah, but definitely keeps coming through. Okay. Let's just ask, because you've had a lot of cards come through for honoring your emotions and your, like, the emotions coming through for you. So let's pull some empath oracle cards and just get advice around that. How can you thrive? How can you best thrive by connecting with your emotions? Okay. We have energize yourself with earthing. Okay, this means taking time throughout your day to pause and get embodied. So this means like you're spending a lot of time having to be in that mind, in that like analytical brain, problem solving, explaining, all those things. And it's like, actually what you might just need to do is get embodied. So it could be something like, if you like biking, if you like hiking, climbing, if you like doing anything that literally just puts you in contact with the earth, that puts you physically in the body and out of your mind. And I feel like that's really de-stressing for this pile, because I feel like this pile is always having to be analytical or very alert or like delegating, and just being embodied or being present with your body is a game changer. I also really want to say yoga. Just like not having to have your mind do anything at all. That seems like true bliss for this pile, but I know some people don't like yoga. You might be one of them, I'm not sure. Okay. Set clear boundaries. Empower yourself by setting limits, such as saying no to a request or socializing less. This kind of self-care creates more respect and healthy relationships. Yeah, I definitely get this for this pile because, like I said, I feel like you're just so tired. You need to not have to explain anything to anybody, have to be responsible for anybody's problems. You can't keep emotionally regulating others or like delegating, problem solving, fixing, planning. It's just like setting boundaries with people so that you have time to have this like embodied time where you just get to sit with yourself and you don't have to think about anything. You just get to be. That seems super helpful for this pile. Okay, we also have embrace your imperfections. So release the idea that you must be without flaws. Humans are imperfect, messy, and also miraculous. Simply aim to be the best person possible. Yeah, so I love this. This kind of comes back to that, like realizing that like you're not a machine, like you're just a human. You're just a human and you're here to experience life, and you weren't made to be able to do everything, hold everything together. That's actually something I get a lot with this pile. It's like a broken cup, and I just keep thinking like you just weren't meant to hold everything together all by yourself. Okay, and lastly we have honor your sensitivities, which once again, look at that card showing here, sensitivities. Over here was something about share what your inner world, express your inner truth, and then we have honor your sensitivities. So really actually connecting more with your emotions. Your sensitivities are a gift. Be proud of who you are. Put your hand over your heart and inwardly say, I embrace my loving heart. Yes, who you are, your emotions, your instincts, your intuition is a gift. It makes you you, it makes you incredible. It's like part of your complex part of your complexiality. That's not a word. It's part of what makes you complex and beautiful, and it's something to embrace and not run from, and not get frustrated when it comes up, because it's actually like your secret weapon. It's not your fault. Yeah, I feel like this pile can maybe think sometimes that it's been a negative thing for them. Okay, so just to kind of leave this reading, as soon as I start repeating a lot of the same information, I like to kind of start to wrap things up for you here. So anything to kind of finish on for pile ones? Any advice on how to help get them thriving? We have detox time, have confidence in your creations. Wow, that is like the perfect card. Have confidence in your creations. Trust in the power of creativity, which is being manifested through you, and release toxins from your body, mind, and diet. Literally could be detoxing of thoughts you've been having, maybe even going through a detox in the sense of if you've been feeling really lethargic, maybe it's time to just intentionally eat foods that help you feel a little bit better, make you feel more energized, and then also take a look at your sleep schedule. I feel like I have to say for this pile, I feel like this pile is just so tired. And everything I keep seeing is like creative expressions. Yeah, confidence in your creativity, prosperity, deservingness. You're just, yeah, there's so much around creativity. This is really something I feel like this pile needs to look into if they haven't already. Like you just, yeah, this pile, I feel like you're just so good at like literally making something out of nothing. So you might be someone who's really good at blogging, or maybe you like photography or painting, or like I said, maybe you like poetry, you write music, whatever it is, you're good at it. And it's like something that you need to start trusting in yourself more in. And I also just feel like it's important to prioritize that. That might not be even how you're making an income. It might just be the thing that's fueling your joy. Or maybe it's something you're trying to move into making you an income. I'm not too sure, but you're going to have to just take this message as it makes sense to you. But you're really being pushed to embrace that creative side of yours because it really wants to come out. All right, anything else for this pile before we let you go here? Authenticity. I'm like, wait, didn't we already pull this card? Did I pull it again? Did I put it back in and accidentally put it in again? Well, either way, be yourself. Be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. There you go. Trust that your real self, created divinely perfect, has the strength and knowledge needed for the situation. Maybe that's just the best way to leave this reading for you. Yeah, you've got this. You've got this. You've got this. I feel like I just want to keep saying that. Maybe you need some positive affirmations as well. You're very capable. You just need to remember that you're not a machine and that sometimes you need breaks. And that's actually just very human and very normal. And if you're procrastinating from something, it's just a sign you might need more joy. You might need to schedule time in for a little rest, a little break, and then get back to the work later. Okay. I'm going to leave this pile here. I hope that brought some clarity or something for you, and maybe I'll catch you around in another pick card video. Hello, pile 2. So you chose the Malachite crystal. I'm going to put it right over here. And yeah, sorry, it got dark outside. So it's a little darker in this reading. Okay, so if you didn't watch the intro, that's totally okay. We're just going to be doing a little energy check. We're going to look at how you're seeing yourself right now, how you identify with yourself. All Mom Enlightened for high is good. Okay, so we have authentic, miracles, and protector. Good luck. Okay. So you know what's really interesting? I feel like you see yourself as someone who's very family orientated, very partner orientated. And I feel like he's someone who sees himself as being very nurturing. I actually even kind of wanted to use the word mothering specifically, but I'll leave that open to you as you want to take it. Yeah, protector. Good luck. You know what? The Ladybug card has me a little thrown off. Happy. I think that's what it is. I think you feel like you're someone who's more or less pretty happy-go-lucky is like the expression I'm getting with this card. Happy-go-lucky. You might be someone who're like, I'm like, people will say like, I'm a simple person, you know, like I love my family. I love my life. I love, you know, it doesn't take much to make me happy or something like that. I don't know. I feel like there's something like that that you say in this pile. Yeah. Otherwise, do you feel like do you see yourself as like a support system? So I feel like if you do have a family and you have kids, you see yourself as someone who's reliable and pretty stable, and who is pretty consistent. So yeah, I also just feel like you're pretty even-tempered, and that I really keep getting happy-go-lucky. You're happy-go-lucky, which almost seems like, I don't know, as I'm saying that again and again, I'm like, oh my gosh, but I don't know. Anyways, I don't know. I'm having a weird night. I just see it as someone who maybe even says it as a mantra, like, I'm okay, everything's okay, or something like that. And maybe it really is okay. I'm not sure, but I feel like there's something there. Yeah. But family is so, so important. Sorry. I'm yawning. I don't know what's going on in this particular card reading for me. I am a mess. Or maybe all the piles are tired and that's actually what's happening. I'm not sure. But yeah, I do feel like family is like your main thing. You probably identify as being a parent, or identify as being like a wife or a husband. Like, I feel like that is like so deeply rooted in how you see yourself, that this should just make sense. If this is for you, that will make sense. So that being said, let's look at what habit or what thing can you release or let go of so that you can thrive more in your life, in your day-to-day. Oh, and Light for your high is good. We have be brave and honest. We usually see that as setting boundaries. Look at that. Setting boundaries, balance, see your seeds grow. Honor inner knowing, being adaptable and trusting your talents, and enjoy success and happy times. Interesting. So what is the block? See beyond the current situation and grounding. Okay. Connecting with yourself and enjoy growth and reap rewards. Okay. So kind of what I'm seeing here is coming up for the strongest is I really feel like this pile probably has kids. I would think even young kids. Yeah, more or less is what I'm getting, because everything that's coming through is just like having to set boundaries, how to find a balance, how to be adaptable. And a lot of this feels like you having to adapt to your outside situations. So like, I don't know, finding balance. I feel like this is outside of yourself. So this is like having balance between time with the family, time organizing things, being all responsible for all the things that you're responsible for, but then also having time to just check in with yourself, being brave and honest. This usually talks about like having to have like a really uncomfortable, vulnerable conversation where you kind of admit to like needing more time to yourself, or needing a little more time to just not have to do anything or have any demands on you. Time for connection is kind of what I'm getting from this. So it's just saying like it is an uncomfortable conversation, because I feel like you might feel like you're letting someone down, or you might not feel like your needs are as important as the rest of the family. And if that's what you're feeling, that is obviously not true, but we feel the way we feel, and unfortunately, that's just something we have to work through if we feel like that. So it says, see your seeds grow. So I feel like this is saying like, with starting to set these new habits, like of like being honest when you're needing a break, of needing more time during your day or during your week to yourself, and then finding that balance and knowing, and like this actually does feel like finding it, like using your wisdom and figuring out, okay, this works, that doesn't work, and this can help me meet my needs, but it doesn't quite work with this thing. So how can I find like a solution to it? And I feel like there's like a need to be adaptable. Like you do have some responsibilities that you just need to be there for. And you also have needs that need to be met. So it's just getting adapting, creating sort of a routine or a situation for your family so that you can start to get more of this time that you need, that meets your needs. Okay, so the main thing is like, how can you meet your needs? Finding balance and planting seeds so that you can meet your needs. So the unhealthy habit that I think would be coming through for this pile would be self-sacrificing your needs, not looking at your needs and looking at the needs of your family first, and maybe even only their needs, which I think this pile is getting better at. So I have to say, if you are watching this, I think you've already started to take action towards this, or it's on your radar. You know it's something you're wanting to change or fix or adapt in your life. So I feel like I just want to acknowledge that, because I don't want you to be like, I am doing this. What do you mean? I know you're doing it, but it's just coming through as it's really important to get your needs met. So honor your inner knowing. This is all about like following your instincts, and the fox is all about being adaptable and knowing that you have all the skills you need to be adaptable as the situation arises. So I also like that it comes through with success and happiness. So it's funny because this pile definitely identifies and concerns themselves a lot with their child, and maybe not as much with themselves or family. It could be your family in general, but I do feel like kids and significant other comes first a lot of the time. And this is just saying like, as the situation happens day to day, like just honoring what you intuitively know you need so that you don't burn out, so that your needs are met, and also that you can make sure that your family members are feeling loved and supported, and safe and secure. But it does say like there is, you're like, you've got this. This is basically what I'm trying to say to you, pile 2. You're so smart. You know your family well, and you know what you need, and you're going to be able to find a way through this, and you're going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. It's going to be lighter and easier at the end of it, which is really cool that that's coming through for you, because maybe you just need that reminder that you're smart and it's all going to work out. And you deserve to have your needs met. So here it says, see beyond current situation. When I see this card coming through, I really get the message that it might feel like it's impossible to create that time for yourself right now. You're honestly, it might just be that you have a lot of kids, or you have a lot of young kids and they're really dependent on you, or the way that the schedules are organized or the time frames are organized in your family system is that it's very, very dependent on you. And it's saying like, don't be discouraged by that. Just take a deep breath, let it out, and go, all right, where can I start shuffling myself out of the main responsibilities? Like, just meaning, how can you take on a little bit less? And that's why it comes forward with the seeds that grow card. Like, it's not going to be tomorrow, but if you start taking steps today, then it will be a day, one of these days. So it just says, take time to stop making yourself the key system in the system. Does that make sense? And there might even be a need to look at that and be like, hey, like, just because I take a step back and I'm not doing everything doesn't make me any less of a parent or any less of a partner. It actually just makes me human with needs that also need to be met. And I wonder if, like, at first, this is something that you put yourself so in the middle of everything because you wanted to be everything for everyone, but you're starting to realize that it's too much for one person to handle. And then another card we have here, it says, enjoy growth and reap rewards. So this once again talks about it's going to take a little bit of time to set up these new systems, this new schedule, but it is going to be worth it in the end. Like, you will reap rewards. You're planting seeds. Don't give up hope. It's all going to be okay. You deserve to have your needs met. Just start using the intuition to start to find adaptable ways to get yourself out of that, the middle of everything is almost what I want to say. I think you're rooted in the middle of everything for the family system to work. everyone's relying on you. And it's like, it's not that they can't rely on you, but maybe you shouldn't always be 100% your responsibility for everyone. And then this one here says, heart guardian, love and let yourself be loved. That honestly is like a really good summary of everything we're seeing here, is that like you ultimately need to get that love back. You're putting so much love into your family system. You're putting so much love into making sure everyone else is feeling secure, feeling safe, supported, seen, appreciated, acknowledged. And at the end of the day, it's like, but who's doing that for you? And I don't think you have time to do that for yourself. So it's really, really important to let yourself be loved. Love and let yourself be loved. Yeah, that's a really, really good card, I think, for this pile. Okay, let's just pull some further clarifying cards on how can you really thrive. What's some advice on how you can really thrive? Okay, this came out in the last pile too. Practice compassion. See things from a fresh perspective. Yeah, that's really key, because it's like, I can tell that you've been in this role for a really long time, and it's going to be hard to let go of control, to let go of being needed that much, but there is also a need to not be needed all the time, all that much. So it's just like learning to like be very compassionate with yourself for having all these different emotions about it, for feeling like you might be losing something, or you might lose your value or something like that, because it's not actually true. It's just a little part of you that believed it had to do everything to deserve love, to earn love. But now you know better. That you for sure know better. You are just loved. You are so loved and valuable in your family system. You don't need to do everything to earn it. You just get to get and be loved like everyone else does, like you are doing for everybody else. Okay, we also have speak the language of love. Loving words have the power to change lives, including your own. Yeah. So it's interesting enough. I wonder if you could use a few more words of affirmation from the people in your family. Maybe even mentioning that you appreciate words of affirmation, or even really discovering what is your love language. But I feel like words of affirmation is pretty important for this pile. And even giving them to yourself, letting, like, I feel like there's a lot of fear from a small part of you, or there could be a lot of fear from a small part of you that's just like, hey, like, what if I'm less loved because I'm stepping back or I'm giving up some responsibility? And that's the part of you that it's saying it's really important to nurture during this time, because obviously it's not true. It's not true, but that little part of you doesn't know that. So it could use that loving, nurturing aspect that you give to all your other family members, just directed to that part of you who doesn't know it. Get to know each other, learn to meet another's needs for love. So this is actually talking about self. So learning what needs you have to feel loved and feel like your needs are met. And it's actually going to be probably some self-reflection. Like, what do you actually need? What makes you feel loved? What makes you feel valued? Is it the words of affirmation? What is it? And just like only you can actually answer that question. And that's kind of the beautiful thing, is you get to go on a journey and discover what you need. And then you can get those needs met. And then that's going to sure take off a lot of burden, I think, on this pile. A lot of weight. And I even feel like there's like an importance to discussing this with your partner. So your husband, wife, whoever they are. It's like explaining to them, because I feel like they would love to know what your needs are and how they can meet them. I think they would love that, is what I'm getting. Okay, anything else for this pile? Be authentic. Be real, true to who you are and how you feel. So that's the one that really stands out there, is be true to how you feel, and don't dismiss your needs, don't dismiss your feelings, just because you feel like they are inconvenient to the family system, they're really important. And it's really important for your needs to get met and seen so that you can show up how you need to. Do something for someone, give your attention to another. Once again, like I said, these cards are all directed towards you. So it says, do something kind for yourself. Be gentle with yourself, give yourself attention, give yourself some self-care and some nurturing and some self-love. And whenever I see a squirrel, they're always like symbolic of being prepared. So it means like, I feel once again like setting up some schedules or some routines that get you out of this position of always having to be there for everyone, and have some time to yourself, some alone time, some time for self-care. Okay. I'm just going to start to wrap up this reading here. So I'm just going to ask for a couple more cards just to conclude this reading. What does pile 2 need to hear? How to thrive emotionally. We have ask a dream for guidance. Dreams offer wisdom beyond logic. Tonight, ask a question before bed. In the morning, write down a dream and look for the answer. So I love that. So it's like if you're having a hard time coming up with creative solutions, ask a dream and literally dream about it. Your dreams might have the answers. Quiet your mind. Overthinking a problem is not the key to any door. Take a few breaths to still your inner chatter. Let yourself just be for a while. That's a really good point. You might be overthinking really, really hard trying to come up with a solution. And it's like, sometimes you need to take a step back for it to be really obvious. Okay. You have practice patience. Press the pause button. Take a day off from being frustrated with yourself or others. Patience reaps great rewards. So once again, this is kind of like that. Just like stop putting so much pressure on yourself and let yourself just take a back seat. Let yourself not have to be responsible for everything. Let yourself give and receive equally. Let people give back to you. Let yourself receive it. Otherwise, you might end up feeling really exhausted or ill, and it's just not what you're wanting for yourself. You're wanting more, and it also might help with not being like overly anxious, overly stimulated. Just helps you come back to earth and be grounded in your body and feel good. Okay. I think I'm going to leave this reading here. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Hopefully this brought some clarity to you. I'm just going to like wrap it up with saying, I really feel like as a card reader looking in, I'm seeing there's just such a need for you to discover what are the needs you have and what are the needs that you can talk to your partner about, talk to the people in your family, and just say like, hey, like this is what I need. This is what I need to be supported. And then start to create some routines. Use your instincts, use your adaptability to find a balance and start to get yourself out of this role where everyone's depending on you and the system's set up for you to have to be everywhere and be everything. It's really important to start to find balance and to really be honest. Like that was the first card that came out. Really be honest about what you're feeling, where you're at, and what your needs are. And it might be a little uncomfortable, but it's going to be so worth it. It's going to be so worth it. It's like I said, this is like a hard conversation, but it's a conversation that really, really needs to be had. And I feel like you've been feeling like that for a while. Okay, I'm going to leave this here. Wishing you best of luck with this conversation. Maybe I'll catch you around another pick a card video. Hello, my pile threes. So you chose the Lapis Lazuli. It got a little bit late, so sorry about the lighting. It's not ideal, but it works. So if you didn't watch the intro, that's totally cool. We're going to start by just pulling some cards for an energy check on how you see yourself right now. This should just help you get clear on if this pile is for you or not. That all being said, all in love and light for your highest good. How does pile 3 see themselves right now? You have grizzly bear, sea turtle, snow leopard, and goose. Interesting. Sorry, I keep yawning only once I start these card readings. So that's interesting. You know what keeps standing out to me is I wonder if you're someone who kind of sees yourself a little bit as like, it's funny, I said this in another pile, like a lone wolf, but also someone who can be part of a group. Like, it's really interesting. I don't know why that's coming through so strongly. It's like maybe you see yourself as fairly balanced in your extroversion and introversion. Maybe you just really identify as that. I shouldn't be surprised that I was like, it's interesting. There's so much third eye chakra coming through in these cards when you did choose Lapis Lazuli, so that makes sense. I do feel like you see yourself as like very strong by yourself, very like capable by yourself, but also a bit protective of the people around you. I also get that with sea turtles. Like, it's like you can be like you are part of your group. You pay attention to the people in your group. You care about the people in your group. I just feel like you see yourself as someone who's very protective of your people. But you might identify with that. You might identify yourself as like the protector of your friends, the protector of your family, the protector of like people who can't protect themselves. You could also be someone who's in a job that also defines as that. So I wouldn't be surprised if people are in law enforcement here, or some sort of emergency service. Because the other thing too with like geese, I keep thinking about this, like, funny enough, when a Canadian goose or geese, one of them is injured or hurt, two of them will fly down and stay until that one has passed away, and then they'll join another group. And it's just really interesting that they do that. And I just keep being drawn to the fact that there's three, they're flying down. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe you're in search and rescue of some sort, or a medical field, or something like that. But you're definitely someone who is seen as a protector, or you identify yourself as being a protector. Even the snow leopard, I just feel like you might be a little guarded and a little bit hard to read from others. Some people might see you as having like a harder exterior. I also got that with like the grizzly bear. People might see you as a harder exterior, but you're actually someone who just really cares a lot. And not everyone will see that in you. And that's just something I imagine you've just had to live with. So the solar plexus is coming up a little bit here too. So it's interesting. It kind of gets me curious to see what's going to come through in your reading. Just because, yeah, you have a lot of third eye and a little bit of solar plexus. So you're not seeing yourself clearly. There's something going on there with that message. So yeah, anyways, I also feel like you're pretty chill, and that maybe everyone would, like, that might not be how other people would first describe you, but you actually describe yourself as quite chill or easygoing. You might even really like water. I don't know, I'm so drawn to the turtle. Like, maybe you like snorkeling or scuba diving or swimming or boating or something like that. That feels like pretty important to this pile for some reason. I just keep thinking about that. It's not snorkeling, I think. Whatever. I feel like, yeah, I think you feel like really relaxed there. And then maybe when you're not in that environment, you're like more serious. I don't know. Something like that. So anyways, let's put your cards over there. And you know what though, that actually makes sense because you chose the mermaid card. So you for sure probably do like water, because you intentionally chose a water deck. So, and you also chose a crystal that's blue. So I think you just like water quite a bit. But I keep getting that this pile's a bit guarded. yeah, people, like all your animals are kind of intimidating other than the, you know, like the turtle, which is pretty chill. But I do feel like you come off very strong or very cold. But you're not cold. I have to be clear there. You're definitely not cold, but that's just definitely how you think you come off to people. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this pile would work in some sort of law enforcement, security, some sort of like authority position. Also might be why you're drawn to the dark blue. I don't know, maybe you wear that color to work or something. Anyways, this is getting super specific. So let's just pull some cards on how you can thrive more in your life. What habit? Well, I'm wondering if I can see some habits that might be associated with this file. Anyways, let's not scare you off. Okay, so how can you thrive more in your life? Let's start with that. That might be all in love and light through is good. How can you thrive more? Wave of power, assertive power, upswing in energy, accelerating movement. Okay. I kind of feel like that's like letting go, surrendering a little bit more. It would feel like this pile actually tries to be quite in control of themselves. So you could try to be quite in control of your diet, quite in control of your routine, quite in control of your emotions. You might be a pile that has like some pretty rigid routines. You might have like a cleaning system that you follow. You might have like a food schedule or workout schedule. I could see this pile having a schedule for a lot of things. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I do feel like it comes from rigidity in the sense of trying to control more aspects of your life. And look at this, you're still getting a lot of third eye. So there's a lot about not seeing something clearly. Reflections, that's hilarious. So there we go, we have the answer to my own question. You don't see yourself clearly. You do not see yourself clearly. Rapid development, excellent success, appreciation and enjoy the lunar light and cycles, and a surge of power. Okay, yeah, so kind of what I'm seeing here. Okay, let's just pull a few more. On Songs and Sirens, yeah, I am definitely seeing that there is like a bit of a how would I put this? Like, I think you might try to, I don't know if it's like you minimize or downplay your intuition. And your intuition in this sense, I feel like it's like your ability to actually know more than what meets the eye about things or people or situations. Like listening to your crown chakra, listening to your instincts, listening to your emotions, I actually think is what it is. There's a lot of you that's like really established in this, like, I want to say like more masculine structure. And I want to be very clear, when we just say masculine and feminine, we're only talking about like the masculine represents an energy work, just like the action taker. When you physically need to get things done, it has a very important role. Otherwise, we'd literally never do anything. And then the feminine energy is more that creative, that surrendering to, that just allowing, just being, yeah, kind of like not planning. It just happens. And that's why it's important to have both. And I feel like there's so much here saying like really needing to surrender to that feminine energy, to that like surrender, to that just allowing there be no schedule, no plan, no thing to have to do, and the emotions. So I have to say, when I was looking at how you see yourself, it's interesting because I was almost seeing how you were trying to tell me how you see yourself, but then underneath all that, I could see like almost like an avoidant attachment, which you might already know or might not know. But you know, this is a collective reading, so you take it as it resonates. But you might actually really want to explore maybe the avoidant attachment style, and maybe even like some very common themes in personality traits or patterns that attachment can bring. because the rigidity feels like it's very attached to that attachment style. Yeah, it's very interesting. Sorry, I'm yawning again. You might be tired, but you might just push through with your routines and the things you need to do, which there's nothing wrong with. But yeah, I really keep seeing this. There's like this reflection. What contemplates can, okay, yeah, actualize. So there's just so much about how, like, actually, if you've been feeling kind of stuck or dissatisfied in your life, and let me clarify how I would see this as the card reader looking at this, is you might actually feel like you have a hard time having really deep connections with too many people. It's not that you don't have deep connections with anyone. I just think it's pretty hard sometimes for you to have truly deep, intimate connections with friends or with partners. And I just feel like it comes from this like protective, there we go, side. I don't know. Sorry, I was in the other piles. My words are just having a hard time coming out today. I'm like tongue-tied. I think I'm also just tired from catching up from work. But anyways, this isn't about me. It's about you. And yeah, maybe it's a deflection you use a lot in life, is like deflecting onto the other person talking, deflecting a question, avoiding answering the question. You know, I know, in all seriousness, like, I'm not trying to pick on you or anything, but I'm just teasing. But I do feel like this is something you probably have a bit of awareness around. Yeah, and I think if you've come to this card reading, I think you might be one of those people where you're like, I'm not 100% against card readings. I wouldn't admit to many people that I'm not against them, but yeah, I am not against them. And then you're here watching this, and I actually feel like this is where some of this is coming in about, like, you can really hide and deny a lot of things about yourself. And I think if you're coming to this reading, there just might be a question of, do you really want to keep denying all those aspects of yourself, all those parts of yourself? And I just feel like there's like this like wanting to find yourself. Like, it's so funny with the Atlantis card. That's what I get from that. It's like, I feel like you really want to find yourself. You really want to see yourself. And that might look like, I feel like for this pile, going on like maybe a trip somewhere where you're intentionally in an environment or setting where you can do some self-discovery, where you can be supported in seeing yourself and maybe even breaking habits of avoidance or aversions of seeing certain things. I want to also just clarify here that I can tell you're a wonderful person. So I want to make sure you're not hearing anything else than that. I can tell you're a wonderful person. What happens when this type of attachment style forms is essentially that you just did not have someone emotionally available when you were a child. Most likely your emotions were completely neglected. And your physical body was probably taken care of decent enough. I don't even want to say that for everyone, but mainly like emotions just weren't talked about. They weren't okay. If someone had like big emotions, like scary emotions when you're younger, I feel like that was never talked about or even explained. It was just ignored. And I kind of feel like that's where some of this stuff is coming from. So Song of the Siren, this is really talking about finding and acknowledging all of yourself. Who are you? What do you want? What do you want in your life? And it's so interesting, as I said that, I wonder if that's been something some people have said to you when they haven't been able to get an emotion from you. So it's like, oh, that might be a triggering statement for someone here. And it's not actually like something that is necessarily emotionally charged. It's just like a neutral statement, but I can see, or a neutral question, sorry. But I can see how if someone said this to you before, it could be very frustrating if you didn't know the answer. Yeah. So what I'm seeing here is the habit that could use breaking is the habit of trying to maintain control, to always be rigid or structured, always be in that like extremely disciplined state, like actually feel like there is like a call or a need to surrender to your emotions and to this part of yourself. This is coming up as the more kind of feminine part of yourself, the softer part of yourself, which we all have, female or male. And just actually finding that part of you again, because you do have emotions, and I know you have emotions, but I feel like there's a disconnect here when it comes to actually feeling them. Like, I wonder if you kind of are aware they're there, but you don't really feel into them. And like, once again, I want to be very clear. I feel like this is all definitely coming from being in a home that didn't model that type of, what am I trying to say? They didn't model, and the parents did not model or did not have the emotional ability or capacity, to support you. So I feel like you've come to this just because you're really tired of, I kind of feel like, like I was saying, not having that deeper connections. I also feel like this pile kind of wants to find love. I just am so drawn to the heart and sand. And I just feel like you sincerely are like, I want to find my person. I want to have deeper intimacy in my relationships. I want to be vulnerable. I think you actually do want to be vulnerable. It's just really scary and really hard. So let's look at some guidance. Some guidance for you on how you can get there, because I feel like we're seeing the problem, but we could use some guidance and some easy steps, because I feel like this pile likes steps on how to get there. So all uncommon light for your eyes, good. How can you thrive? Have patience, and like attracts like. If you long for more love, be more loving. Yeah, okay, so that's a really good, like, simplified way of saying this. So one is, it's going to be a process. It just is. It's not ideal to be told that, but it is going to be a process. And as long as you keep trying to practice and hold yourself accountable to doing it a little bit better every time, or circling back to a conversation or whatever it is. So like if you're noticing that you're being emotionally avoidant, all you can do is own up to it after and clarify, justify, and try again. Try again. Have the conversation for a second time. And what I like about this is just saying, like, the more you try to communicate and work through this, then the more you're going to attract other people who are also going to see that effort you're putting in and put the same effort in. So yeah, it's like every time you do a little bit more, or you work on this a little bit more, it's going to incentivize the person you're in relationship with, or the people that you are possibly dating, to also do the same. So I would wonder if this pile, I mean, they say avoidance usually attract anxious people. But for some reason in this pile, I wonder if you have actually attracted another avoidant, which is kind of funny. Sorry, it's funny because it's like, oh, that's got to be an interesting relationship dynamic. Or someone who is on the avoidance side, but a little bit like more secure. Because I feel like there is this, like, as you open up and you share, I can see that this other person feels encouraged to share as well, or to open up more too. But anyways, just take whatever resonates. The rest is, for YouTube. Okay, what is some more advice on how you can thrive? We have speak the languages of love. So loving words have the power to change lives, including your own. So I do like that. So I do feel like, because I feel like this pile, it would be the struggle is the deepest with actually verbalizing and communicating. This is just saying like focusing on that. And just once again, it's like that patience, like just work at it a little bit at a time. It can really be helpful to keep listening to like podcasts that give like practical examples of what to say in certain situations, what to start thinking about certain like situations. So it's almost like it becomes your default program to speak in this language of communication, communicating your emotions over your original communication style, which was influenced by your parents. Which might have been like to say nothing or to shut down or to neglect that anything had even happened. So it's just saying like with practice, you know, one step at a time, just focus on the communication. That's really, really going to be where a good chunk of it's going to get resolved. Anything else you can do to help yourself thrive here? I love this. Act as if your partner is here. So this is saying like if you are just going on multiple dates with different people or whatever the situation is, it's like just treat them as if they are the right person for you. You know, like get this, like I want to say practice, like practice communicating as clearly as you would want to communicate to the person that is the love of your life, because they might be. It's hard to know until you have had those conversations and been vulnerable and experienced that person. So it's just like treat everyone as if they are that person in trying to communicate with them, clarify things and all that. We also have be supportive, make a genuine effort to show you care. Yeah, so it's just saying like, yeah, honestly, just putting in the effort, people do feel that and notice that, and it will be felt. And, you know, like, I just feel like this pile needs to be okay with the fact that you might not get it right the first time, but just keep sticking with it, okay? Like, you are going to figure it out. You're going to figure it out. Also, underneath here, I have physical touch. And sometimes, you know what? That, like, it isn't the end-all be-all. So clearly hear me when I say this. Whoa. Something got stuck in my throat, but that's actually just to prove my point more, is sometimes if you're having a really hard time communicating and the words are escaping you, sometimes supportive touch can be a temporary solution to that problem. Supportive touch, I'm going to be very clear there. So like maybe holding someone's hand, giving them a hug, a hand on the shoulder, like as the situation is appropriate. Like it's not the end all be all, but if you can't verbalize in that moment, then the next best thing you can do is just supportive touch. Supportive touch. Like I said though, if that's appropriate to the situation and all those things. Okay. Lastly, we're kind of getting to a bit of the wrapping up of this reading. We're going to ask, how can you thrive emotionally here? How can you thrive emotionally or support yourself emotionally? Focus on gratitude. Don't wait for a crisis to happen to be grateful for your life. Today, focus on what you have to be thankful for. This actually really makes sense. I feel like this pile might struggle with occasional depression or just like really highs and lows sometimes. And I feel like it comes from feeling discouraged, from the lack of connection, lack of intimacy in some of your friendships, or just in not having a person perhaps. I feel that. I feel like it's just not feeling seen, not feeling connected can really bring this pile down. So this is just talking about like starting to find small things to be grateful for, making lists of things that you are sincerely grateful for so that you start looking for more of that in your life. And where your attention goes, your focus goes. So you start to prioritize those kinds of things more and more versus these routines and rigid habits that sometimes can sneak in. Unless those are things you're grateful for, then you can also keep those. Okay, let's pull another card for how you can thrive. Release your critical voices within. When a critical inner voice says, I'm not enough or I'm too sensitive, immediately counter it with, this is not true. Focus on loving thoughts instead. That seems like a really good one because like I said, I felt like this pile has a hard time accepting their emotions just because it just probably never was welcomed in your family system and maybe even in some of the jobs you've had. Okay, how can this pile thrive? Enjoy the warm sunshine, the wind in the trees, the cleansing rain, or the clarity of a snowstorm. This will increase your aliveness. So yeah, so this really comes back to like if you're feeling emotionally down, sometimes getting outside is something we just need. Like change your state, get outside, get into the fresh air, get that vitamin D in. You know, if you're in a country where the sun isn't like up for very long, try to get outside and literally be in the sun. It can also be meaning that you're moving your body, you get outside. If you're just walking, skiing, hiking, climbing, whatever it is, biking, sitting outside, move your body, just move your body. And sometimes that will be enough to just change the state you're in. And getting outside and not being stuck inside in a dark place can be a game changer. Lastly, we have listen to the wisdom of your intuition. Your inner voice is the best friend you will ever have. Seek answers from deep within rather than just through your intellect. Yeah, that makes sense. Everything here was talking about embracing more that intuition. It's really good. You have really good intuition. It's just trusting it and knowing it's safe to trust, which is naturally a very hard thing when you were always taught to not listen to your emotions, that emotions weren't important. Yeah. Okay. I kind of feel like this is where I'm going to leave this pile. I hope that brought some sort of clarity for you or something, maybe some inspiration. And I hope to catch you in another pick a card reading. And I hope you have a good night or morning or evening or whatever it is for you. And yeah, good luck with everything. You've got this. One step at a time.